So if I'm going to tell you, you're moving to this place and they get a lot of storms over there. Maybe it's a place that gets a lot of earthquakes. Maybe it's a place that gets a lot of thunderstorms. Maybe it's in Tornado Alley, they get a lot of tornadoes. And I am preparing you that there's going to be bad weather that's going to come your way. There's going to be storms. And I'm preparing you for that. Well, you're going to need to take some action to protect yourself. But how do you protect yourself from a storm? Let me ask you this question. If you wait, listen carefully, if you wait until the tornado touches down, and then you start thinking about seeking shelter, maybe that's a little bit late in the game. The tornado's right in front of you at that point. What do you need to do if a tornado's coming? What do you need to do if a hurricane is coming? You need to seek shelter before the storm hits. Am I right? And so you're given these warnings saying there's a hurricane coming. There's a tornado coming. Seek shelter. So now you're seeking the shelter before the storm hits. And that means that when the storm hits, you're safe. You don't wait until the storm hits and then start thinking about, maybe I should have sought shelter. And so what faith does is it is the shelter. And when you enter into faith, long before the storm hits, when you enter into the shelter of faith, iman, nearness to Allah, taqwa, long before the calamity hits, then you're safe. How do we enter into the shelter of iman and Allah, the nearness to Allah? How do we do that? There's a very, very profound statement of Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah. And here's what he explains. Listen carefully. He says that there are two types of commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Are you with me? Two types. One are the commands in the universe. Okay? These are the commands that Allah makes in the universe. This is the qadr of Allah. This is the command of Allah that this earthquake's going to happen at that moment. That this calamity is going to strike at this moment. These are the commands in the universe. The second type of command are the commands of the Sharia. These are the commands that say you need to pray Fajr at a specific time. These are the commands that say in Ramadan, you cannot do this and you can do this. And from this time to this time, you cannot eat and you cannot drink. These are the commands that say alcohol is haram. That this is how you should dress. This is how you can eat. This is how you cannot eat. Understood? So there are two types of commands. The commands of the Sharia and the commands of the universe. Now listen carefully to what he says. So profound. He says that those who obey Allah in His commands of the Sharia, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will protect them and suffice them and take care of them when the commands of the universe strike. Understand? Do you see this very profound formula? The more you obey Allah and submit to Allah in His commands, which are of the Sharia, the Shari'i commands, the more He will hold you up, protect you, carry you even through the commands of the universe. And that's what we're witnessing in Gaza. Everyone who has witnessed the people in Gaza have they've taken witness that these are very pious people. That these people are not typical. They are not typical, that they are a generation of God-fearing people. You know, they talk about 10,000 huffaz every year. They talk about the fact that this, as a generation, were God-fearing individuals. They are a special group of people. And so you see that when the calamity struck them, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sufficed them. Allah took care of them. Allah kept their feet firmly planted. And that, by the way, is the nasr of Allah. So now we find ourselves in this position, right? We're witnessing this. We're witnessing the calamities that are striking our brothers and sisters. And some of us are feeling very helpless. Maybe some of us are feeling very hopeless. We make dua for them. We strive to try to spread awareness for them. But many of us feel like, but I don't see the effect. I don't see the help of Allah. I don't see the victory. We're making dua, but I feel like our dua isn't being answered. We might feel this way. But I want to remind you about something. A few things. One, that the victory and help of Allah comes in different forms. So let's sort of simplify it. We have two simultaneous worlds that we live in. You with me? We are simultaneously living in two worlds. There is the physical world, which is the world that we see. It's the body that we have, the ears, the eyes, the things we touch, the things that we can physically experience, the physical reality. But there is also another world that we are living in at the same time, simultaneously. And that is the unseen world. That is called the ghaib. That is the things that we don't see, but are just as real. That is the presence of angels, the presence of the jinn, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's presence wherever we are. And that is also iman and tawakkul and the istiqamah of the heart, the steadfastness, that is sabr. So now, when we talk about victory and the help of Allah, we have to be careful not to limit it to the physical world. We already agreed, we know as part of our faith that there is not just the physical world. It's not YOLO, right? It's not just this life and that's it. Only what I feel, it's like, prove it. We know that there is an unseen world. And so we have to be careful not to get deceived by only the physical world. Because in the physical world, we might be seeing what looks like defeat. Over 20,000 dead. More than double that injured. That doesn't look like a victory. But that's the physical reality. And we already agreed that there is not just a physical reality. And so what do we see in the unseen reality? In the spiritual reality? Here's what we see. We see that the victory of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to stand your ground and to never lose faith, no matter what tsunami hits you. That is the nasr of Allah. That is victory. That is true victory.